Welcome back to the TwinSpires jury. I'm Ashley Anderson here with Darin Zoccali and a first-time guest for episode 115. We've got David Levitch. You may know him as the Paddock Prince. He also does the Churchill Downs simulcast desk. He's recently joined TwinSpires Expert Picks, and if you're a U of L fan, University of Louisville, he was on the team from 2013 to 2017, basketball star at U of L, and also a basketball coach at North Oldham. I think I covered all
Yeah,
the things you do, right?
yeah, I think you got it all. Yeah, thank you all for having me. I'm looking forward to joining the show today. Got some good races to talk about at Keeneland, and obviously Churchill opening day as well on Sunday. It's been a bad day for U of L basketball today, but we'll move on and get past it.
I like that you just put that out there because I didn't know if we were going to touch on that. But yes,
Yeah, it's been
U of
rough.
L in the news. It's
It's been
okay. If
rough.
you don't know, you can just go to the internet and figure out what that one's about. I don't know if you know this too, David, but Darin's also a basketball coach. He's the 2025 New York State CYO Basketball 3U champion, actually.
Wow.
So we're
So
I
great.
mean,
yeah, got a big name here.
I didn't exactly play for Louisville, but my 8-year-olds are awesome.
That's good.
Yeah.
Get them
So
going young.
we've got a handicapper battle and head coaching battle going on
There
here
you
today
go.
to talk the Grade 3 Bryan Station at Keeneland, the Grade 3 Fayette, and then we'll talk about Sunday opening day at Churchill and the Grade 3 Street Sense, a Road to the Kentucky Derby prep race. But we will start with the Grade 3 Bryan Station race 8 on Saturday at Keeneland. 3-year-olds racing 1 mile on the turf. Post time 4:44 p.m. Eastern time. And David, I'll start with you. What is your pick in that race?
I like the number 10 simulate. I thought this race had a ton of value in here. I can see why some people like some of the shorter prices. I'm not a big fan of Final Gambit at all. This horse is a plotter and he's probably going to take more money than the 5-1 just because of the races he's running. And I thought Simulate's race 2 back in the Secretariat was pretty good. He was wide, the winner kind of went right up the rail. I thought getting back to a mile could help him. He needs some pace, but he has Irad who's winning the meet. I just toss races at Kentucky Downs. Sometimes horses just don't take to that turf course. He should be around the 8-1 morning line. He's shown ability in some of his races, and I think he's up to the task here, especially if he's around that 8-1.
Yanni picking up the leading rider at Keeneland, Irad Ortiz Jr., so that's always a good thing. He is going to come from off the pace. Darin, you're going with someone who's going to probably get the early lead. Are you thinking we're not going to have a very hot pace here? I'm guessing based off your pick.
I don't think he's getting the early lead, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
I think you got a couple of horses that are stretching out. Troubleshooting, I think, has got to be the horse that probably goes to the
That's
front.
true.
I think
Okay.
Golden Afternoon and Anti-Social are probably going to show speed. I was actually hoping that he sits in like that first flight of stalkers just behind the speed, laying in like fourth position. But we're talking about Tenacious Leader, who's making his second race back off the year-long layoff. I thought coming back the way he did in that allowance event and sitting listen, he sat the best trip in racing when you stalk off of speed and just pounce. But it was his first start back in a year. So I do have to give him credit for that. What you're looking at here was last year's With Anticipation, where he's going to battle with Zulu Kingdom all the way down to the wire, who obviously is one of the best turf horses from this particular crop. So he hinted at a lot of ability early on. He was actually getting to Zulu Kingdom late in that race. And the fact that he was able to come back off the layoff and run as well as he did, showing that ability is definitely still there, I thought was a real big feather in his cap. The price is certainly going to be right here based on that 12-1 morning line. I do agree with David that this is a race that seems to just be chock full of value, and you could find it just about anywhere in this particular field. Final Gambit, the one thing I'll say about him and that I think is interesting, it's his first time getting back to a mile in a long time. And, he is a one-move, dead, stone-cold closer. No question about it. But his best races have been at shorter distances than what he's been asked to do of late. And I wonder if maybe that's taken some of the starch out of his late kick. People just kind of assume, oh, he's closing great at 5 furlongs. When they stretch out around 2 turns, he's going to be even better. And when he's closing great at a mile, when they go to a mile and a quarter, it's going to do him even better. Maybe he's just better at a mile. It remains to be seen. I think that's kind of curious here. And I'm a little bit interested to see what he does on the cutback. I honestly have no idea. If he ran well, it wouldn't surprise me. If he plodded along for a well-beaten 6th, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think Final Gambit backers probably want to hang their hat on the cutback is going to help him. But I agree with David. I wouldn't take any short price on him, which is why I landed on a horse that's 12-1.
So I'm curious how hot you think the pace is going to be, because that was the thing that I was a little bit hung up on. And you mentioned the sprinters that are that are going to be stretching out, but I still thought we might get a little bit more of a moderate pace just based off of you see who did get the lead in their past performances. It was a little bit slower with those horses that did go to the lead.
Yeah. There's not like any blazing speed in here. I think troubleshooting has to go. He's obviously the quickest of the quick, I think, on paper, based on the fact that he's laying close to 44 and change half miles. And I think Golden Afternoon has got a lot of early speed as well to go with him. So I think this could be a race when you take a look at it. There's a lot of horses that are looking for similar mid-pack to closing trips that could kind of drop back together and make one run. So the way that I'm hoping this works out for Tenacious Leader is that those inside three kind of separate themselves quickly, and Tenacious Leader is able to just drop in behind that first flight and sit like a really good fourth or fifth, maybe 4 or 5 lengths off them, and get first run on all of those horses that are all looking to do the same thing.
Well, we talk about looking for value in this race. I went with a 20-1 horse, who I think is way better than 20-1. That's number 6, Dream On, who is a horse in the past who has gone to the front. Actually, at Del Mar in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, went to the front and ended up weakening to fifth that day. Was beaten by Henri Matisse, who we'll see in the Breeders' Cup Mile next week at Del Mar. But this is a horse that's won a couple times at a mile in the Woodhaven at Aqueduct. Actually, sat a little bit closer to the early speed that day and got up to win by a neck. And then next out, won the Grade 3 Penn Mile over yielding turf. Went to Colonial Downs, faced Giacoso, faced Simulate, faced Antisocial, finished fifth that day, and then turned around and went to Kentucky Downs, which, David, you mentioned. You can sometimes draw a line through horses that run at that course because it's so different, but he cut back to a sprint in the Franklin Simpson. We're looking at the Colonial Downs replay here, but he cut back to a sprint last out at Kentucky Downs and then finished sixth that day. Really wasn't involved from the beginning, was too far back, I thought, but stretching back out, coming off a layoff. He also has Javier Castellano aboard, who has won the Bryan Station 3 times from a somewhat brief history of this race, but obviously knows how to win this race. And you're getting a great price on him, 20-1. I will take a swing with Dream On because he has proven at the distance, and he's also 4 for 10 on the turf with a second and a third. So I like his form over turf, and I will certainly be happy with a 20-1 winner.
Yeah, I thought a horse like, I was actually interested in Tenacious Leader as well in here. I think it's interesting that Pletcher is bringing this horse back this quickly. He's not really a guy that brings horses back on 3 weeks rest. And I thought he was really game off the layoff last time. And I do think he's going to tuck in another speed horse. I thought was probably going to be the 3 Antisocial Saez on the horse. He's not blazing quick, but his mile races, like, we just watched the Secretariat, he's pretty forward and with a post that's somewhat towards the inside. I would think he's going as well in here. And I think this pace could get quick and for horses coming from off the pace, like Simulate, the horse I like, and horses kind of right in behind the speed, because I don't really like any of the speed horses in here. So I think this pace could come apart a little bit.
Yeah, Ashley, I actually bet Dream On in the Juvenile Turf last year, and for about the first 90% of that race, I thought I was really smart at 15-1. I thought he was winning. And then at the very least, I thought he was running second or third, and I had built a lot of exotic wagers around him. And how he somehow ended up fifth in that race, I still do not know, because at the 8th pole, I still felt really, really good about my chances. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him run well. In regards to Henri Matisse, I admittedly did not read the article. I didn't have a chance yet, but I did see a headline that he's been retired to stud.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So
I
didn't read the story. So forgive me if it says after the Breeders' Cup Mile, but the headline at least read like he's been retired. So it'd be unfortunate to miss him at the Breeders' Cup, but that's kind of how it read.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I see that was posted by Thoroughbred Daily News and says joins Coolmore roster 2026. I'll have to look into that. Obviously, That's going to be important to know for handicapping next week. But we will move over to the Grade 3 Fayette. I keep wanting to say Fayette.
I do that all the time.
I believe. Race 9 at Keeneland on Saturday, 3-year-olds and up, post time 5:16 p.m. Eastern time. Darin, tell us why you like Rattle and Roll.
Yeah, I love him in this spot. This is a horse that obviously relishes the surface at Keeneland. He's run a couple of exceptional races there. You could argue probably maybe potentially 2 of the best races of his career, and that included the British Futurity as a 2-year-old. I think he's going to get a great setup in here. I mean, when you take a look at this race, Obviously Bracket Buster is going to the front. Dilger is going to show a lot of early speed. Prince of Power has got a lot of early speed. Dragoon Guard has got a lot of early speed. So I think he's going to get a good setup here. The mile and an eighth is something that I like for him at Keeneland. You don't have that short stretch with the first finish. Second race back off the layoff. Needed the race in the Lucas Classic. Got off to a slow beginning. Did not get a strong pace to run into that day. Was left with too much to do. And he's a horse that, kind of goes in and out of form throughout his career. And I'm going to try to catch him on the upswing potentially before people realize that, maybe he's heating up. And that bullet workout of 59-4 on October the 18th, I think really it maybe is a potential indicator that he's sitting on a pretty big race here. Because when you take a look last year, he worked very similarly a week and a half before the Clark and came out of that workout and ran one of the best races again of his career in the Clark. So I'm hoping that that's a signal that he's ready to fire a big shot. I think he's going to get a great setup in here. So we're going to look for Rattle and Roll at, 12-1 morning line, but not sure we're going to get it. By the way, here's a look back at that Clark that we were talking about where he stepped in off that great workout and relished the long stretch of Churchill Downs to get up in the Grade 2 Clark last year. But I'm looking for this form to show up once again. I'd probably bet him at half the price, to be honest with you. I don't think we're getting 12-1, but we'll see.
I almost went with you on Rattle and Roll. Ended up changing my pick. Obviously, you can see I went with Hit Show, but for all
the
the
other
reasons
horse
you
that I was
gave,
thinking about picking too.
I know it was between the two for me, and I think you're right. You could kind of tell with the Lucas Classic. I mean, Mystic Dan was in that race as well as stablemate. So coming off that layoff, and he had raced, over at Maiden before he came back and raced at Churchill. I knew that he probably wasn't gonna have his best race in September, but this seems like the one where he would come out and be red hot. So, but
He only had
David,
three. He only had 3 works going into that race too. So that clearly,
yeah,
since running in April, so that clearly was just dusted off a little bit, and now comes back like Darin said with a nice work. And yeah,
yeah,
I don't know if he'll be 12-1 in there. It's a tough race to make a line because I know you like Kid Show, but he's a Dubai World Cup winner. He doesn't have a good post, so the betting in here is going to be
yeah.
interesting when you have a horse like Hit Show at 6-1 on the line. I don't know if Dragoon Guard's going to be or close to 7-2. He's not crazy fast, but he wins. He's 5-for-9 lifetime, but he never runs like really fast races. Florent Giroux did go here. If you like the jockey game, I don't know if look into that too much. Irad does ride for Cox now, most of his
Hmm.
mounts, so I don't know if he got to choose which one he wanted to ride, but yeah, I don't know about Dragoon Guard honestly in here.
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about Hit Show since we're kind of talking about the late runners here. And I do sometimes look at the jockey changes, but in this case, I almost feel like if Irad's on Hit Show, that might indicate to me that Brad's feeling pretty good about that horse. I mean, Irad is the leading rider at Keeneland right now, 18% winner. He's winning 26% of the time paired up with Brad Cox the last 2 months. And my reasoning for going with Hit Show ultimately, I feel like it was either or for me with Rattle and Roll. There is a rider switch with Rattle and Roll with Brian Hernandez Jr. still being out recovering, but certainly still has a capable rider. But I preferred having Irad on Hit Show. It is breaking from an outside post, but working out well. This horse, not that I look too much into win-loss patterns. He is on a win-loss pattern and due for another win. He's had this pattern going for quite a while since last year.
Last year's Fayette.
Yeah, when he won this race last year, he started the win-loss pattern. And he's coming off, or he's second off the layoff. So he could, step forward second off the layoff here. I don't know if the outside post is that much of a concern for me, but this horse is 2-for-2 at Keeneland. He's 4-for-11 at the distance. I think he's in play here. I don't know what price we're getting. Hopefully I get something around 6-1 and the price comes down on Rattle and Roll. I think they're both really solid contenders. I just started to feel a little bit better about Hit Show the more I looked at this horse. But David, you like the morning line favorite, Bracket Buster.
Yeah,
So
I
tell
do
us
like
why you
Bracket.
like, and also a horse that's going to be forwardly placed.
Yeah, I do like Bracket Buster in here. I don't know what Dilger's going to do. He has some sprint speed, but if you look at Dilger's form, his last win came when he was off the pace. I think Bracket Buster can send in here, and if someone really wants to go, he can tuck in from behind. He did beat a New York bred last time in Iron Dome, but that horse is a really good New York bred. I think he won 3 races at Saratoga this summer. He's running in the Empire Distaff this weekend at Belmont at Aqueduct. And it's Travers. He got a good number for that, but he did run second, beating some quality horses, including Magnitude, lost to Sovereignty, obviously, but he showed a little fight in there, and I just like that he backed up his number in the Oklahoma Derby. I hope the pace isn't crazy fast in here, but I do think he can sit off the pace or take the lead if need be. And I think he's a horse that's really coming into his own. And 3-1 wouldn't be great value for a win-in bet, but I think if he's 7-2, because maybe one of the cocks takes more money than they should. I think if he's 7-2, 4-1, he would be good value.
Darren, you have any thoughts on Bracket Buster?
I mean, it's part of the musical chairs for the jockeys. Bracket Buster is like you were talking about hit show. I don't know if Florent Giroux had the choice or if Brad Cox decided who was riding who, but Bracket Buster has been ridden by Luis Saez the last couple of races, and Saez ends up on Gosger here off a dull try in the Pennsylvania Derby. So, my problem with Bracket Buster is at a short price. I honestly just don't know how good he is yet. Yeah, I get he ran second to Sovereignty, but nearly just about anybody could have run second to him in that race because the horses that ran fourth and fifth did not pick up their feet. Magnitude obviously bounced again off of what was a huge figure that day, or maybe just was an 1.25 mile horse. So I don't know how much it was just him winning a battle of attrition to run second, or he's getting better. I do agree Iron Dome's a nice horse. He's running in that Empire Classic on Saturday at Aqueduct. But now going up against older horses, facing pace pressure from older horses, I typically let a horse like this at a short price beat me. So I just think there's a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of speed in here. I just landed on a more seasoned older horse at a better price. If I'm wrong,
you mentioned Gosger. I don't really know what to do with this horse.
Me either.
I mean, because Parks is kind of like Kentucky Downs on the turf. Parks races can kind of live in isolation if they run really well or horses run really poorly. Some just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I know he ran second to Journalism in the Haskell, but he probably should have won that race. He had a big head start on Journalism.
He should have won the Preakness too.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
The Preakness, excuse me. I meant the
both of them.
He should have won the Preakness. He had a huge head start on Journalism. He ran fine in the Haskell, and then last time out at Parks, but I don't really know what to do with that horse. I feel like he's this is a big race for him. I mean, he's going to the end of his 3-year-old career. If he doesn't run well here, you'll probably see him get a break. But I guess if he runs well, you can see him in a top older race like the Clark or something. But I didn't really know what to do with him. I don't know how they're going to bet him either because of his last race.
I agree.
Yeah.
He's a bit of an enigma wrapped inside of a riddle. I've seen horses not run well at Parks. Some horses just don't take to that track, like David's saying, and then they bounce back in their next start. And for him, my advice would be just, perceived value with him. Is he 4-1? Is he 8-1? And depending on that, how you rate his chances, kind of invest accordingly. I mean, that's my best advice on Gosger.
Yeah. Before we move on to the street signs, Darren, you're up for promos and tournaments happening at TwinSpires.
Yeah, busy time of year, obviously. Closing out Keeneland, heading into Churchill, heading into the Breeders' Cup. So we've got another weekend of the bet back on Saturday for closing day at Churchill Downs, up to $10 if your horse runs second or third. So be sure to be opted in, see which races we've selected for you for Saturday. And as always, bet with a little bit more confidence. And then one of our newer promos that we started earlier this year that has really taken off and a lot of people seem to like is our win ladder. Opening day at Churchill, it's going to have a $5,000 prize pool. And the way the win ladder works is if you win 3 races, you share in $750. If you win 4 races, you share in another $1,500. And if you win 5 races on the card, you share in another $2,750 for a total chance at sharing in a $5,000 prize pool just for winning win bets. So it's the simplest wager in racing. It's something that, quite honestly, I feel gets overlooked sometimes in a lot of avenues in racing with different promotions and carryovers and pick 5s and pick 6s. Sometimes it's good to get back to basics. And the win pool is where players can churn their money and cash their tickets a lot. And I like incentivizing people to have winning win bets. So that big $5,000 prize pool, it's an awesome contest to get some win bets in on Sunday at Churchill Downs for the win ladder. On the tournament side of things, we're in BCBC mode. So this Saturday, we have a BCBC Churchill Downs, Sunday, a BCBC Churchill Downs qualifier coming up. That's actually going to be the last chance one you're looking at there. That's Wednesday, the 29th. On Saturday, we have a BCBC Clark Betting Challenge qualifier at Keeneland. So we have 2 more chances to get in to the BCBC through the qualifiers. Go to the tournament hub and check out those opportunities. And then, of course, if you want to buy your seat, you can do that and play the BCBC with us. Entries will be closing shortly before post time on Friday of Breeders' Cup Day. And we also have that ongoing offer where if you've been betting with us all month and you buy a BCBC seat, if you've bet $3,000 in October, you can get 5% back of your BCBC purchase. So be sure to be opted in to that offer as well if you're going to purchase a BCBC seat with us. So exciting time of year, Ashley. A lot going on as we head to the Breeders' Cup.
And we're also heading to opening day of Churchill Downs, which is Sunday. And we're going to have another Road to the Kentucky Derby and Oaks prep race, the second to be at Churchill Downs so far this year. We've got 2-year-olds racing. We're going to talk about the Grade 3 Streets since it's race 10 on Sunday. It's a mile and a 16th, and post time is 5:25 p.m. Eastern time. David, we'll start with you. Who is your pick in this race?
I like the number 7, Incredibolt. I thought his win last time out at Churchill going a mile was strong. He has some forward speed. He debuted going 6 furlongs at Ellis. He obviously was closing in there. He actually took a ton of money, so he must have been working well for Riley Mott going into that race to be 2-1. I thought his maiden win was really good. The post suggests he's probably going to have to get some position going into the first turn, stretching out to 2 turns. You don't want to get hung out wide, especially at Churchill Downs on the first turn with the short run up. I thought he made a lot of sense in here. I don't think he's going to be the favorite because the Universe who's coming out of the Champagne. He's by Bol d'Oro. There is a lot of sprint in the pedigree. The Dam didn't really do good running going 2 turns. His best sibling was a 6 furlong horse, but I think with Bol d'Oro on the top side, I think this horse can hopefully get the distance. And I think he's going to be a good bet in here at 7-2 because I do think a lot of people will bet Universe just coming out of a Grade 1.
Yeah, I really like your pick as well. I almost went with Incredibolt myself, but let's let Darin talk about Universe, who is probably going to be a popular pick. And as you mentioned, David, coming out of a Grade 1. So, Darin, why do you like Universe?
Yeah, well, I liked his debut. I liked his win at Saratoga back on August the 30th, where he actually came out of the gate sideways. He slammed into the side of the gate and was able to overcome that and really show a professional victory. I mean, this is going to be Universe here coming down the center of the racetrack, and he's actually running on the wrong lead here and is kind of zigzagging in and out, and he switches leads here, and this is where he's going to level off and just draw clear from the field. I was very impressed by his debut. And I liked them in the Champagne off of this effort. The Champagne Stakes, it's going to be one of those races that horse racing pundits and those of us that analyze races are going to be talking about and trying to understand for quite a while. It was a very strange race. It was a ridiculously fast race from a time standpoint. Universe was up close early. They ran like a 21 and change second quarter where he kind of had to like back off of that and got shuffled back in between horses and then kind of had a re-rally. They went to 6 furlongs in under 108. I mean, it was just a wild race, right? And I honestly have no idea what to make of that, except this horse was put into a really kind of adverse environment in his second lifetime start with a lot to deal with. They're taking the blinkers off now. I like that move for him. I think they're going to try to rate him a little bit more and get him off the pace. There seems to be plenty of horses in this field that want to lay close, and I think that could work to his advantage. He looks like a horse that's going to get better with more ground, so the move to 2 turns doesn't bother me. I did make this pick before the morning line was posted. So, I don't normally try to pick favorites on here if I could avoid it. We'll see if he actually goes off favorite. I think there's a lot of different directions that you could go here. But, yeah, I'm just going to try to I'm going to try to go back to that maiden win where I like this horse quite a bit coming out of that and see if he can put it together here in the street sense.
Another positive, he's gaining Jose Ortiz, who was one of the top riders during the September meet.
That's true too. Yeah, I meant to bring that up. Yeah, big rider switch to Jose Ortiz. A funny story real quick. Pennsylvania Derby a long time ago in the mid 90s, like 96 or 97. I used to go every year with my dad when it was Philadelphia Park. And one year we used to sit in the restaurant overlooking the track, and on the level below us, was George Steinbrenner. And we got to meet him and get autographs. And the reason that he was there was he actually had a horse running in the Pennsylvania Derby. The name of that horse was Universe.
Oh,
So there you go.
wow, what a connection there.
Nothing come full circle. Yep.
Wow. Are you you're not a Yankees fan?
Of course I am.
I thought you were a Mets fan.
No, God, no.
Okay. All right. Well, we cleared that
I
up
leave
now.
Met fandom to people like Mike Rapoli. They could revel in that misery.
Okay. Gotta work in that Mike Rapoli reference. All right. Well, I will take it over to Vost, who is 9-2. I was a little worried that Universe might be the morning line favorite. That's why I kind of shied away, because in these 2-year-old races, I like to try to beat favorites. But Vost is a horse that I actually picked last out in the Iroquois. He finished third that day, was a little far back. But on debut, I thought he looked really good at Ellis. He had to overcome a slow start and was able to get up and then draw clear to win by 2 lengths in this Ellis Park maiden race. Last out, he had an outside post in the Iroquois. I talked to Will Walden yesterday, backside at Churchill. He was talking about how the wide draw that he had kind of affected him, and now he has the rail post. He has Louis Saez picking up the mount, and Will Walden was saying he's confident Louis is going to be aggressive out of the gate. Vost isn't going to go to the front. He's going to sit back. But I think this is a horse, even though he also has a lot of sprinter pedigree, I think can handle the mile and a 16th. Will Walden said that he's excited to get him out to 2 turns and that the longer the better. So I'm going to take the price on 9-2 on a horse that I expected to do a little bit better in the Iroquois last out, and I'll just write it off as maybe it was the outside post that affected him and hope that I can get the win this time in the Street Sense. I think we can probably draw a line through a couple of these horses, but honestly, I think the 3 that we've all chosen are pretty strong.
I will say, I did does have 2-turn experience at Churchill, which can be kind of
That's
important in
true.
these races. I just don't know how good the horse is, and he's probably going to be overbet with IRED.
Yeah.
I don't like
forward.
coming back betting horses that run a much improved race over a sloppy sealed track. I typically want to see them prove that over a fast surface, especially at a short price.
Yeah, I
True.
mean, if you do like that horse too, back he did lose the Blackout Time, who ran second to Ted Nolfi coming back
Mhm.
in the. I think he is running in the Breeders' Cup now. I
He's
think
a good
IRED's
horse,
riding
Blackout
him.
Time. He's a
Yeah.
real good horse. Yeah.
Yeah, so he did run second to him in his maiden race, so he's improved some. But if he's 3-1, I don't think he's very good value in here, to be honest.
True. I was looking because the forecast had a little bit of rain, but not enough to make it a sloppy track. So I was a little nervous about that too. Was this horse just better with the off track? What does he do over a firm or a good track? But Irad's aboard, so that's going to bring some money to him as well. Probably Irad and Universe battling with Jose Ortiz and the money. So yeah, we'll see what he does over a little bit more firm of a track. But for our rapid fire fades, David, you were playing against Universe. So tell us why you don't like Universe in this field.
Yeah, I didn't love the race that he won in his maiden race. The third place horse, Big Bag Wolf, came back to run 6th. The runner-up was the Steve Asmussen horse. He hasn't come back to run yet, but I just didn't love the race. If you watch the replay of it, it was getting hungry late, and Universe was really the only horse that was doing any running. He did hit the gate at the start, and he does get a rider upgrade in here. But I think coming out of a grade 1 race with the jockey switch to Jose Ortiz, he's probably going to be overbet in here. And if he's 2-1, 9-5, I could never endorse a horse like this. While I get why some people would like him, I just think he's too short in here.
It's all fair. Any closing thoughts on Universe, Darin, since that's your pick?
No, I just give his maiden win a little bit more credit. I think when a horse comes out of the gate sideways, hits it hard, and overcomes that, still kind of green in the stretch. You know, he really didn't get to running to inside the last furlong. He was kind of lugging in a little bit, shifting out on the wrong lead. Once he switched, I thought he was clearly the best there, and I thought his race in the Champagne again. It just comes down to, you know, what is that race going to be? And I think it's a bit of a wild card for sure. But, you know, at the same time, I think he's probably coming out of the fastest 2-year-old race that we've seen so far. So, you know, and I thought he ran better than it looks on paper just because of the circumstances around the race and being close to a fast pace, getting shuffled back, having a re-rally. He's been through a lot as a 2-year-old in 2 races, and I think he's performed admirably given those circumstances.
Well, now we'll take it to the horse you're playing against. We're going back to Keeneland for closing day. Tell us why you don't like Mount Horeb. I don't know how you say that.
Yeah, this is
Close enough.
low hanging. Yeah, Mount Horeb. This is low hanging fruit for me. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he's going off favored because I think a lot of people are going to look at this horse the way that I do. He's got one start since January. It was in March. He's got one win lifetime. It came in the synthetic going 6.5 at Woodbine. He's a one-run dead closer. He rallies okay, but it's not like he's got this electric turn of foot that he's just kind of coming up short with. And, this race does have a little bit of speed in it. But when you take a look at this field, I mean, there's just so many other ways that you could go. Cop off a maiden win is certainly interesting. High Ceiling has not run in a long time, but obviously is a horse that could be any kind. Interesting that they're going back to the turf. Operation Torch, is second race back off a long layoff. Swirling Eights is coming off of a blowout victory at Kentucky Downs. Bite and Strike is coming off a big maiden win at Ellis as well. So, yeah, I just think there's just a lot of different directions that you could go in here. And off the long layoff, given the profile, Mount Horeb is a horse that I'm going to just play against every time.
Fair enough. That's kind of my angle too. There's other horses I would prefer to go with the value for my fate as well, and that's going to be in the race after yours, Darin. This is race 6 at Keeneland. It's the Bowman Mill Stakes, and I'm playing against number 5, Spun DMC at 9-5. Now, this is just the 5th edition of the Bowman Mill Stakes, but a post-time favorite has never won. We'll see if this is the post-time favorite, but post-time favorite has never won the short history, though most winners have been short prices. But most of the field, I'm looking at the field here, I think there's some better value. A lot of them went to the front in their previous starts, and Spun DMC was a length off the leader at first call when he won on debut by 2.5 lengths, but he was a 12-1 long shot that day. Now he's a heavy favorite on the morning line. He's picking up by Red Ortiz Jr. That's going to bring the money in as well. But I thought the maiden race, it rated a little bit lower than some of the races the rest of the competition had come out of. And you have 2 Wesley Ward runners in the field. I don't know if we'll see both of them, but Wesley Ward at Keeneland with a 2-year-old, I'm certainly going to respect in a 2-year-old race. And there's a big price from Safi Joseph, who I thought could be in play. And I'd rather take a big price than a very short price favorite who was overlooked on debut and now jumping up to stakes company. So I will play against Spun DMC, even though I do really like that name.
Yeah, outfielder is pre-entered in 2 Breeders' Cup races, the Juvenile Turf Sprint and the Juvenile Turf. I'm assuming he's running in one of those races and not here, but I haven't seen.
That's what I was just looking at.
Yeah, he's literally entered into pre-entered in 2 Breeders' Cup races. So unless something changed, I don't think you're going to see outfielder in here.
Yeah, I feel like Wesley Ward always has 2, and then he keeps 1 in. So I figured it was probably going to be the one who I still think looks pretty good. Won by 6.5 lengths on debut.
I honestly thought coming off of that win that he might be going to the Juvenile Turf Sprint.
Yeah, is he pre-entered?
I honestly don't remember. I just saw outfielder.
I don't think so. I don't think he is.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's competitive, and all these horses, most of them won on debut. So I just think I'd rather go for a bigger price than a 9-5, who was 12-1 when he won on debut. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have today. David, excellent arguments. First appearance on the jury. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Own going up against a fellow head coach.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Well, you can catch David on the Churchill simulcast coming up for the fall meet. And of course, his expert picks on TwinSpires. Darin will have his expert picks on TwinSpires as well. And we will be back next Thursday. I think all of us are involved in some kind of Breeders' Cup show. So follow us on our social channels to get our picks in the jury. And I think, David, you're also doing a roundtable of sorts for the Breeders' Cup as well. We'll see you next time.